Call of Duty Warzone 2.0 has finally arrived, offering players a next-generation battle royale experience, as well as an experimental extraction mode in the form of DMZ. We here at Rock Paper Shotgun have spent the last few days leaping out of planes and scooping rifles off dusty floors in order to bring you this, our ultimate beginner's guide, a video that details everything you need to know to increase your chances of survival within the Warzone. A bit of an admission right up top, I actually never played the original Warzone. As a big fan of PUBG, Apex Legends and Fortnite, I just never found the time to try out Infinity Ward's hugely popular first attempt at a winner-takes-all multiplayer experience. So when Warzone 2.0 came along, I was jumping into the game as an absolute newbie. I had no idea what I was doing and spent my first few games cold and afraid, sprinting across the mountains of Mazrah, sobbing and begging opponents not to kill me over proximity chat. Dozens of rounds later, I figured out the basics required to avoid such a humiliating situation. Not only that, but I've also spent a fair chunk of time chewing over the game's brand new mode, DMZ. Both can be quite daunting at first, so I'm here to help guide you through the basics of Call of Duty Warzone 2.0. If you're looking for something specific, feel free to use the timestamps below, otherwise, let's dive right in. Let's start with Warzone 2.0, Call of Duty's refreshed take on the Battle Royale formula. Warzone is a competitive multiplayer game that pits 150 people against each other in a competition where only one player or team can be crowned the victor. Games can be played solo or in squads, allowing players to group up with friends in order to compete together. The game begins on a plane that flies over Mazrah, a large map that consists of multiple points of interest such as villages, mountains and old Call of Duty maps. Oh yeah, I remember dying here a lot when I was 15. Good times. After jumping out of the plane and parachuting onto the ground, it's your goal to scrounge for weapons and survive by killing rival players. At certain intervals, the play area will shrink, with a wall of toxic gas closing in to push players together into even smaller combat arenas. Players who think fast and understand the rules of engagement will ultimately come out on top. And that's basically it. We'll go over more of the nuance later, but Warzone is all about surviving using the tools available to you at the time. Before you start, you'll have to decide which game mode to play. I'd recommend starting out in either squads or duos, so you can get to grips with the flow of this particular flavour of Battle Royale organically by observing the actions of your teammates. Better yet, play with pals. Solo is also good fun, especially as online communities can be less than welcoming at times, but I would recommend trying to play with others first. Oh, and before you click go, make sure to go into your settings and alter your microphone to only turn on when you push a button, instead of the default, which has it on all the time. Warzone 2 features proximity chat, which allows players near you to hear your conversations. Now, this is cool in theory, but in practice, it just means any rival squads nearby can hear you chatting to your mate about what you had for dinner that evening. It removes your ability to sneak up on opponents, so go ahead and turn that off right away. So it's your first game and you're ready to jump off that plane. What should you do first? The most important decision before you send your poor operator soaring through the air is to decide where to land. Now, Mazrah is a big place where the best loot is primarily found in the areas with the highest risk. For new players, I'd recommend avoiding built-up areas such as this city or any named point of interest that falls within the range of the plane's trajectory. Try to land towards the outskirts of the play area in spots with few buildings to maximize your odds of survival. Once you're on the ground, it's time to scramble for loot. You'll already be equipped with a basic pistol, but that won't serve you well for long. Instead, rush into a building and start scavenging for guns, ammo, and other various pieces of equipment. At this very early stage, you want to prioritize finding the following items: an automatic weapon that is capable of taking down enemies from a short to medium range, such as an assault rifle or a submachine gun, as well as a long-range rifle or traditional sniper rifle. You'll also want to hunt down armor plates, as these protect you against incoming fire. As a general rule, make sure you're always keeping an eye on on this bar right here, as this indicates the durability of your armor. Additional armor slots can be gained by finding better quality body armor, so keep an eye out. You'll also want lethal equipment, such as a frag grenade, and tactical equipment such as a flashbang. Cash is also important, so make sure to hoover up any dollary dues you might find on your travels. Kill streaks provide you with powerful abilities that can take down a couple of rival operators with ease, whereas field upgrades give you additional ways of navigating the battlefield. You'll primarily find loot scattered on the ground as well as in loot boxes. These boxes spawn in loads of locations across the map and can be identified by the haunting sound they emit before they're opened. Seriously, why do they sound that creepy? Weapons and other items will automatically be equipped once you pick them up, however they can also be stored in your backpack. This is useful if you want to carry multiple of the same types of items, but be aware that you only have a limited amount of inventory space. Seriously, though, prioritize armor. It'll literally save your life. So, what next? Well, now it's time to avoid the circle. Or circles, sometimes they split off for a bit. Keep out of the gas, engage with enemies only when you feel like you're capable of doing so, and attempt to survive until the end. Try to avoid wide open areas, as you'll stick out like a sore thumb and be susceptible to sniper fire. If you're indoors, keep an ear out for enemy footsteps. Working out where your enemy is coming from is the first step to gaining the upper hand in combat, after all. And in Warzone 2, all those operators have big, stompy boots. You can hear them coming a mile off. Let's talk about cash, as it's an important resource in Warzone. Cash can primarily be collected via looting and by completing contracts. Contracts can be started by finding phones marked on your map with these icons. After collecting them, you'll be given a task to complete, such as finding a laptop and uploading its contents. Some even mark you as a target, requiring you to avoid enemies that can see you on their map before the time runs out. Successfully complete these objectives and you'll be rewarded with a chunk of change that you can use to go shopping. Buy stations are scattered across the map, represented by this shopping cart icon, and let you purchase various bits and pieces such as support items and armor. Their most important use, however, is gaining access to your pre-modified weapons. Now, loadouts are one of the main mechanics that set Warzone apart from its competitors. Outside of a match, players can define a selection of weapons, items, and perks that can be accessed within the Warzone after achieving one of 3 goals. These loadouts vastly increase your chances to succeed, as they provide you with weapons that have been customized to your preferred specifications, giving you the advantage. The first way to access your loadout is via loadout drops, which happen randomly during the course of a match. Loadout drops are marked prominently on the map and are announced to all remaining players. Fighting to grab one is difficult, as anyone in the area will also rush to retrieve their favourite weapons. The second way is by liberating strongholds. These are marked on your map via the castle icon and appear after the first circle collapses. Defeat all AI-controlled enemies within this location to achieve your loadout. Your third option isn't perfect. For a large sum of cash, your primary weapon can be purchased from a buy station. This is just your primary weapon, however, and not your full loadout. Still, it's better than nothing. For the record, we reckon the best Warzone 2 loadout consists of the Victus XMR, a vicious sniper rifle, and the STB-556, an incredibly accurate assault rifle. So let's say the inevitable happens and a 13-year-old that's probably called Brandon snipes you from 10 miles away, and your brains decide it's time to take a relaxing holiday to the wall behind you. Don't panic. In Warzone, death isn't the end. When you die, you are transported to the Gulag, a prison that's kind of like purgatory. Here, you'll team up with a randomer, or a teammate if you died close together, to take down 2 rival players. Equipped with random weapons, whichever team wins the skirmish is returned back to the island, albeit without any of the items they collected the first time around. However, after a short period of time, an AI-controlled jailer will jump into the Gulag arena. If this jailer is killed, all 4 players are returned to the Warzone rather than just the winning team. If you can somehow agree to a ceasefire, taking down this powerful enemy will result in a second chance for everyone involved. If you die again, then it's game over. That sort of. If you're playing with squads, your teammates can pay $4,000 to revive you by using a buy station. It's a small price to pay for the return of a comrade, unless I'm your squad mate, in which case it's a waste of bloody money. Once you finish a game, either by dying or hopefully winning, you'll be rewarded with a bunch of XP. This XP comes in two forms. The first is account XP, which will go towards your general level that is shared across Warzone, DMZ, and Modern Warfare 2's multiplayer modes. This XP will also contribute towards Battle Pass tokens. You get a new token after you earn a certain amount of XP. The second is weapon XP. This XP is tied to each specific weapon you used during your last match, with individual weapon levels contributing towards unlocking additional weapons, attachments, and camo for both that specific weapon as well as other available weapons. It's a bit confusing, but basically if you level up one gun, the chances are you'll unlock something for another one. This system is bad, I don't like it. Still, if you do own Modern Warfare 2 and have been struggling to level up your guns in the standard multiplayer suite, Warzone is a great way to grind out upgrades without having to take weapons you don't like into traditional multiplayer matches. The Battle Pass can be purchased using real-world money and allows you to use tokens to unlock various cosmetic trinkets such as operator skins and calling cards. All of these items are time limited, so if you really want a sticker that says Tactical AF to slap onto your golden M4, then I guess you better buy it. None of these items are essential, though, and all of them are here for bragging rights only. Don't feel pressured to pay for something in a free game. And that's it. That's all you need to know to get started in Warzone 2.0, but the fun doesn't stop there, as Warzone also features a brand new mode called DMZ. DMZ is a new mode that uses the same mechanics as Warzone, but applies them to an extraction shooter structure. An extraction shooter is a competitive multiplayer game all about taking risks for huge rewards. Using the same Mazrah map as Warzone, 1 to 3 players enter the map with the goal of completing contracts to collect huge amounts of cash. The map is populated with both AI combatants and rival squads. Die and you'll lose everything you've collected during your time in the DMZ. However, squads can extract via randomized locations marked on the map using this icon. Escape and you'll keep everything you've collected, allowing you to enter the DMZ again with more powerful gear. Setting up a game of DMZ is a little different compared to Warzone. To start, head on over to your weapons tab to set up your loadout. In DMZ, you have a limited number of weapons known as contraband. Die and you'll lose these guns permanently. Survive and your pool of weapons will grow based on what guns you manage to extract from the DMZ. Players will begin with one insurance slot, allowing you to take in a customized weapon of your choice that won't be lost when you die. However, death will prevent you from bringing this weapon in again for a limited amount of time. Extracting cash or other valuable items will reduce this cooldown. Once you're in the DMZ, you have a few options. The first is to complete tasks given to you by factions. These serve as goals that not only grant rewards upon completion, but serve as sort of guided missions that are perfect for players who have never tried an extraction shooter before. If you try to work your way through these tasks, at least for the first hour or so, you should get a really good idea of what DMZ is all about. Basically, you'll want to do the following. Equip a useful loadout, scavenge for valuable loot, replace less valuable loot in your backpack with items of a higher value, complete contracts displayed on the map using the same green phone icons as you see them in Warzone in order to get more cash. Strongholds hold high value items, so make sure to clear them out if you're feeling capable enough to do so. Stronghold keys can be bought from buy stations, as well as additional weapon blueprints and other items. In DMZ, you can also sell valuable items you've collected up to that point, allowing you to clear your backpack for even more valuable loot. Just remember to watch your back. AI enemies are a bit dumb, but they're still more than capable of taking your squad out if you're not careful. Make sure you have plenty of armor, just like in Warzone. On a similar note, rival gangs of players are not to be messed with. Engage with them to steal their loot, or better yet, try to avoid contact altogether to ensure you can leave the DMZ safely. Now it's here that proximity chat actually becomes useful. Shout out to roaming gangs of players and ask them very politely not to kill you. You'll be surprised how often this works. One last tip, once you call in the extraction helicopter, run and hide behind some cover. Rival squads may be hiding nearby waiting to steal all your valuables before you can escape. Catch them off guard by lurking in the shadows. Better yet, hang out by an extraction point and get the jump on a rival squad. What? If everyone else isn't going to play fair, why should you? This is a DMZ, not a Toys R Us. There are no rules about punching Jeffrey the Giraffe in the head here. Go nuts. And that's it. There's plenty more nuance to be found in both Warzone and DMZ, but this is more than enough to get you started. If you have any additional tips or tricks, please do let everyone know in the comments below. For all your PC gaming needs, including additional Warzone guides such as which weapon loadout is best, head on over to rockpapershotgun.com. Thank you so much for watching.